What's going on, y'all? Today I'm going to be telling the story of the first time that I ever hit a DMT cartridge, which this was a pretty interesting experience to say the least. And to preface this video a little bit, for those who may not be familiar with what this is, DMT, from what I understand, it's a chemical that's like naturally produced in your brain, which I'm pretty sure it's responsible for dreaming. So, basically if you smoke this stuff, you're gonna trip balls, and it's a crazy experience, which we'll get into. So on this particular day, I had met up with my friends George, Sam, and Tony, and on this day we all had some money in our pockets to throw in on this to get this DMT cart, and we had met up at this park, which we hung out at this park a lot to get together and smoke weed, you know do trip balls or whatever we are gonna do. And on this day we were gonna get this DMT cart. So I'm not gonna go too in detail with how we got this, but it was fairly expensive, but we found this guy who would pull up to this park to sell us this DMT cart. And when we got this thing, I'm trying to think of, how exactly to describe the smell of when we got this cart, because it's a very distinctive scent. Like if you've never interacted with this substance before, DMT, it smells like it smells like feet. Like that's might make it sound gross. Like, why are you like smoking like feet? But it's almost like feet mixed with like dead flowers or something like that. Like, it's a very interesting and recognizable smell, I guess. So, we had got this cart, and we were just kind of walking around this park, hanging out as usual. Like, aside from the DMT, this was kind of a normal day for us. We had this battery, to screw the cart onto and hit this thing. And obviously we were a little anxious going into this experience. But we all had the intention of doing it on this day, and it's there were good vibes outside, and it seemed like a good thing to do at the time, just to try it out and see what this thing's all about. I don't think any of us were really going in to this experience with the intention of like breaking through on DMT. And if you don't know what a breakthrough is, typically when people do DMT, there's a state that, if you smoke enough of this stuff, there's this state you can get into where you completely like lose touch with your body. So none of us were really going into this experience with the intention of, breaking through on DMT, which none of us did. But we basically, we just wanted to give this thing a few rips just to, I guess, see what all the hype is about. I mean, it sounds like, looking back, it was a very, dumb thing to be doing, because, it's just this little cartridge. But to explain what this felt like at the time, like when I ripped this thing, it's such a weird, like, literally, like, it's like a vibration shift. When you hit this thing, it's like your body's like almost just starts vibrating, and like it's very uncomfortable at first. Like, you hit this thing, and it's like a wave that comes at you, and it's so hard to explain if you've never felt this before. I'm not encouraging this, by the way. It was uncomfortable when you first hit this thing, but we were all just kind of like, walking around this park, and we had sat down like on these rocks and just hanging out. Like, it was a pretty like foresty area, this park. So, we kind of like we just went sat like under these trees, and nobody could really see us. So it was a pretty chill spot to do this at. And we were kind of just, when we first took our first couple rips of this thing, we didn't really like blast off too hard, right? We just kind of like sat and, only took like one or two hits for our first rips because we didn't know how potent this thing was, We didn't know if we took like one rip and we'd be fucking like blasted, like fully blasted off. And, we were kind of scared of this thing. So we took it easy for our first couple hits, right? And, we were all just feeling kind of chill and like just a little bit in a trippy headspace, like the effects weren't super apparent at first, but, afterwards we felt a little bit more comfortable hitting this thing because, we took like 2 or 3 hits of this each. And, we were kind of like, we weren't tripping that hard. You know what I mean? Like we were kind of just vibe, I don't want to say like vibing, but we were, just getting familiar with our surroundings and kind of getting into that headspace. Right. So we felt comfortable taking more hits of this, after that. So I'm not gonna lie, this cart, like we had to rip this thing like fucking like 10 times to get like to get like really trippy like visuals and stuff from it. Like I'm not sure, like probably most DMT carts you'll find are like really strong, and we kind of went into it with the expectation that it would be like that. But now we really had to like chief this thing fully, and like we like held in the smoke and like like when you're smoking this stuff, it's really weird feeling when it goes into your lungs, because it's like I said, it's like the smell of it is like feet, but it's a really weird feeling when it hits your lungs, because it kind of just like absorbs into your whole body in that point. And that's kind of what I was talking about with the like vibration shift. Like you feel the smoke go into your lungs, and then it just kind of transfers into like a vibration into your whole body. And whenever we ripped this thing, right? Like the visuals that we got from it, I'm going to get more into like the crazy, super crazy visuals that I saw later in this story. But this took place a little bit later. But the visuals from this DMT cart are like, it's like almost, it's like more real than like your own 2 eyes. Like that sounds fucking crazy, but like the visuals from this are like, I'm really trying to explain this the best I can, but it's like a super reality is like superimposed onto your vision, and it's like it just comes out at you like in your vision. So we were walking around this park, right? Like not really doing much, just kind of experiencing this. And I don't know why we decided to do this, because the park was like a great environment for this, but we all decided to get back into my car and, just to chill out a little bit. And by the way, we did not drive while under the influence of this, right? DMT lasts like 15 minutes at most. Like it is not a long lasting, thing. So, we did not drive under the influence of that at all. That would be very like just stupid thing to do, because when you're on this stuff, you're like completely out of it. So obviously we did not drive the car. We just went in the car to like just relax a little bit and just chat about like our experience with it previously. And when I was in the car, I was in the driver's seat. So again, we did not operate the vehicle. It was just parked in the vehicle, And I don't know why, but out of the blue, I just decided, like, y'all hand me the DMT cart right now. Like, fuck it. I'm trying to blast off right now and see how far I can get with this thing, because we had become like more comfortable with the potency of it before. So my buddy George hands me the fucking DMT cart, and I just start chiefing this thing in the car. Like I'm talking like I maybe gave this thing like 10 hits back to back, and it wasn't enough to break through. I don't think, any of us were going to break through on this day, because honestly, we just weren't ready for that level. I mean, I don't think I have broken through, from any of my experiences doing this stuff, because I honestly I don't think I'm ready for that experience. But nonetheless, I gave this thing like 10 back-to-back rips, and that vibration shift that happens in your body, it just kind of like goes up and up and up, and so you're like it's like the anticipation of it goes up, and with that it's like the visuals come in. So I was in the driver's seat looking out the windshield, and we were parked up in a way where we were just looking at this like grass hill, and obviously this like body vibration, I was feeling that, and the visuals from the grass were the most memorable part of this experience, because I was just looking at this grass hill, right? And it was like, you guys are like, honestly, this is like really like stereotypical, I guess, of DMT, but like I swear, like I saw like aliens come out from the grass, and like it was very like geometric, but like there was like an alien like staring back at me from the grass, and it was like the trippiest shit ever. But yeah, like I don't remember if the alien like said anything, or like it wasn't like a very deep interaction, but I just like saw this like alien come out from the grass, and like I was just I remember just like telling my friends like, dude, there's a fucking alien, like all my friends were like probably like just curious as to what what was going on. They were probably they were ripping the card a couple of times too, but yeah, like basically met a fucking alien after smoking a DMT cart, and I don't know, like after that I was like content with that experience of like, okay, like an alien just grew out of the fucking grass, and like it's such a crazy like vibration shift. I'm not encouraging you to try this at all, by the way. Like this was a very irresponsible thing to do. But I'm just telling the story of when I did this, so you hopefully don't have to live this experience yourself. I would highly discourage it. But yeah, I mean, apart from that, we were kind of content with that experience. So the rest of the day was kind of normal. Like we just sat in the car for a little bit more, and we got out and walked around the park for a little bit, just kind of like we were just kind of discussing the experience, and like fucking like how crazy it was. And I don't know, like it was a pretty normal day after that, but that was definitely fucking like a crazy experience that we may or may not have like should have been getting up to. But it happened, and I guess I'm the person I am now because of it. Like I guess if I were to pick a moral of this story, definitely be more careful about who you're getting stuff from. I would not recommend doing this at all, but I'm just saying, if you were to do something like this, you would just be very careful about what you're getting, because you don't know what's out there, and you could be setting yourself up for a bad experience. So for all y'all, be very careful out there. And it's like, it's whatever. Like, yeah, we tried this card out, and saw some crazy visuals or whatever, but like really it was like we spent like a good chunk of change for it, for us. Like it was just like not really worth it at the end of the day. We could have been doing more productive things with our time. So I guess I'm just gonna leave this video at that. There's not really much more to be said about this experience. So I hope y'all enjoy the video, and do not follow in my footsteps.